I'd like to give all praise and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, and double honors to all the apostles and the elders doing the work with truth and sincerity. Salutations to all the elect. The wickedness of Esau grows. Here's a couple of clips for this week.
The U.S. tonight is playing a risky card against Russia in a game where the stakes don't get much higher. Nuclear weapons. The Trump administration announcing today it's suspending a landmark arms treaty with Russia that for decades kept the lid on a nuclear arms race. Andrea Mitchell with the latest now.
Tonight, the president taking the dramatic step of announcing he will withdraw from a landmark Cold War-era arms control treaty because Russia has been cheating for years.
We provided Russia an ample window of time to mend its ways and for Russia to honor its commitment.
We can't be put at the disadvantage of going by a treaty, limiting what we do when somebody else doesn't go by that treaty, okay?
At issue, Russia's deployment of missiles along European borders that the U.S. says violates the treaty. Tonight, NATO, hoping to pressure Russia back into line, says the allies fully support the U.S. withdrawal, which becomes final in 6 months. But the European Union says it wants the treaty preserved. Signed by Ronald Reagan and Mikhail Gorbachev more than 30 years ago, the treaty banned thousands of short and medium-range missiles then threatening Europe.
We have made history.
Tonight, new concerns about reigniting an arms race.
We should feel less safe by the forced withdrawal of the United States from this treaty, because this will lead to an arms race and more destabilizing weapons around the world.
Nancy Pelosi says the administration is risking an arms race, while Russia accused the U.S. of failing to negotiate in good faith. Lester.
All right, Andrea Mitchell, thanks. And from that chip.
Welcome back again, everyone. It's Dina Calmette here with CWW7 News. And for today's broadcast, I wanted to bring you a quick review in regards to some events that have occurred so far this week. And I first would like to focus on the United States, Russia, and China. It is being reported that a Chinese diplomat has stated that the United States must abandon the idea of global confrontation and join China and Russia to embark on ensuring global security. He said the United States is an advanced global power whose might can hardly be rivaled. And if the American side expresses concerns about its own security, then what can be said about other countries? It appears that Washington is afraid of a looming threat. I can't grasp how such a feeling of insecurity that has gripped the U.S. can be explained. China has consistently advocated cooperation in maintaining security through universal efforts. We hope that the American side will ditch the zero-sum game plan and will stop looking at international relations from the standpoint of confrontation. It goes on further to report that according to the diplomat, there are no absolutely safe situations in the world. But similarly, no state should protect its own interests to the detriment of others. The United States must help maintain global stability jointly with China and Russia. U.S. National Intelligence Director Daniel Coats earlier told the Senate Intelligence Committee that China and Russia pose the greatest espionage and cyber attack threats. According to him, the two countries seek to expand their global influence. They are eroding once well-established security norms and increasing the risk of regional conflicts, particularly in the Middle East and East Asia. According to the U.S., China is allegedly the biggest threat for global network security. And with that said, U.S. intelligence leaders warned on Tuesday that Russia and China are becoming increasingly aligned as the two nations seek to compete against the United States and its allies. Director of National Intelligence Dan Coats told lawmakers that Moscow's relationship with Beijing is closer than it ever has been in many decades. He also stated that at the same time, some U.S. allies and partners are seeking greater independence from Washington in response to their perceptions of changing U.S. policies on security and trade, and are becoming more open to new bilateral and multilateral partnerships. The intelligence assessment says Russia and China are seeking to assert their dominance over the international system by growing stronger across all domains, including in technology and military. China and Russia are more aligned than at any point since the mid-1950s, and their relationship is likely to strengthen in the coming year as some of their interests and threat perceptions converge, particularly regarding perceived U.S. unilateralism and interventionism and Western promotion of democratic values and human rights. Russia and China seek to shape the international system and regional security dynamics and exert influence over the politics and economies of states in all regions of the world, especially in their respective backyards. The assessment also warns that the Kremlin is becoming more involved in the Middle East and East Asia in an attempt to expand its reach globally. And speaking of Russia, RT News is reporting the Russian foreign minister has responded to a Monday report in The Guardian that the United States has started manufacturing a low-yield nuclear warhead, warning that it has heightened the risk of a nuclear conflict. He stated that apparently these plans were put into practice. Certainly it won't contribute to global security. The new weapon, the W76-2, is a modification of an existing Trident nuclear warhead. According to the NNSA, the first batch have come off the production line, and an unspecified number of them, referred to as initial operational capability, will be ready for delivery before the end of September, according to Stephen Young, a senior Washington representative of the Union of Concerned Scientists, stated the following: as best as we can tell, the only requirement is to replace the existing secondary or second stage with a dummy version, which is what they do every time they test fly a missile. The result is that the yield has been reduced by 95%. From 100 kilotons of TNT to around 5 kilotons, around 1/3 of the force of the bomb dropped on Hiroshima. According to the Trump administration, a low-yield nuke will make nuclear war less likely, as the U.S. will have a more flexible deterrent. The W76-2 would be able to counter the perception by enemies, particularly Russia, according to The Guardian, that the U.S. would balk at using its massive nuclear arsenal in response to a similarly small nuclear attack, since existing U.S. nukes are in the hundreds of kilotons range and too big to use without massive civilian casualties. Finally, it reports that Russia will now await Europe's reaction to the U.S.'s move to begin production of the new weapon.
Good evening, everyone. Breaking tonight, a racist yearbook photo taken over 3 decades ago has surfaced, leaving Virginia's Democratic governor facing some serious questions about his past. This picture of 2 unidentified individuals, one painted in blackface, the other in a KKK robe and hood, appears on the 1984 medical school yearbook page of current Virginia Governor Ralph Northam. The photo roiling Virginia politics tonight and triggering calls for Northam's resignation. Hallie Jackson has more on this developing story.
A decades-old yearbook page suddenly in the spotlight tonight because of this picture of 2 people, one in blackface, the other in a KKK hood. The page belongs to Ralph Northam. He's now the Democratic governor of Virginia. That's him in the tie in 1984, the year he graduated from the Eastern Virginia Medical School. It's not clear who the 2 people in the photo are. The picture originally surfaced on a far-right website that often promotes conspiracy theories and was quickly circulated by the Virginia Republican Party. Conservatives already furious after Northam's comments on a controversial late-term abortion bill being considered in the Virginia state legislature. Northam suggested this week he might look at the bill if it made it to his desk.
We want the government not to be involved in these types of decisions. We want the decision to be made by the mothers and their providers. And this is why, Julie, that legislators, most of whom are men, by the way, shouldn't be telling a woman what she should and shouldn't be doing with her body.
Northam now faces new political pressure. The head of Virginia's Republican Party saying these pictures are wholly inappropriate. If Governor Northam appeared in blackface or dressed in a KKK robe, he should resign immediately. And just moments ago, the governor released a statement confirming he is in that photograph in a costume he describes as clearly racist and offensive, although he did not specify which person he is. Northam says, "I am deeply sorry for the decision I made to appear as I did in this photo and for the hurt that decision caused then and now." He adds, "This behavior is not in keeping with who I am today and the values I have fought for throughout my career." The Virginia governor also offering what he called his sincerest apology. Lester.
Next tonight, outrage in Detroit, where there are calls for a police officer to be fired over a Snapchat video he posted that many have called racist. NBC's Miguel Almaguer has the details.
So she gestures one more time.
The video uploaded to Snapchat was recorded by Detroit police officer Gary Steele, the 18-year veteran using the pre-made app captions what Black Girl Magic looks like and celebrating Black History Month after pulling over Ariel Moore.
All the extra comments and putting me on social media, that wasn't called for. You know, we're in 2019, that racism is still going on.
Moore, who was stopped while driving through Detroit for expired tags and driving without insurance, had her car impounded. Moore was recorded walking home as Officer Steele and his partner made what the police chief calls troubling comments.
Bye, Felicia.
I'm angry because this was a racially insensitive post. This is not what we expect of Detroit police officers.
Officer Steele, who has not responded to our request for comment, has been demoted and reassigned. In 2008, he pled guilty to a misdemeanor after he was charged with attacking his ex-girlfriend and firing a gun. Tonight, Detroit's top cop calls this video an outrage, one that could cost the officer.
Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh Shai, Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh Shai, Barakatah Yahweh, by Hashem, Yahweh Shai. Amen.